honored to be having the wonderful Rob Cruz here, who has worked with some of the most elite softball programs in the country, who is the founder of Complete Game and is also the person who created the wonderful A-Game collegiate system that has helped so many of you find the right colleges for you. Welcome, Rob Cruz. Welcome, 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 and welcome to your dog as well, whom we see in the background.
How you doing, Julie? It's always a pleasure to be
Yep.
talk to you, obviously, and we talk a lot, and when we do, it's always great.
It is always great.
So I'm humbled and honored that you would even want to have somebody like little old me on your show.
Oh my God, are you kidding? You are like the man. Rob Cruz is like the mayor of the softball world, for those of you who do not know this. But I want to start out talking about just like you have worked with more elite programs in this country than probably anyone I can think of. You know, Alabama, the Gators, like the list kind of just goes on and on. So can you tell us a little bit about that? And can you tell us about what makes those programs just head and tails above everything else?
I think on a consulting level, when I'm sharing information with college coaches at any level, the fact that they're willing to want to go outside of their own selves and get information says a lot about the level that they're actually on, because they understand that whether I'm talking with Jimmy Collidas from Oregon or professional hitting coaches like the Chicago Bandits, who actually just won the NPF 2 years in a row. The fact that the people at that level even want to talk hitting with me says something about their passion for learning and their open-mindedness, which is the reason why they consistently win. When you look at the people who actually win, winning is something totally different. Winning is just a mindset in itself. And when you have that open-mindedness to want to go out and do whatever it takes to have a 3-4 hour conversation with a person, just to get one thing from that conversation, that's the reason why you win. And the people who they just think they know everything, that's probably the reason why they lose.
I could not agree with that more. And I
because that's the you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I think Lisa Anson said something that I think is probably like one of the best phrases I've ever heard. She said, "A coach who refuses to be coached is a hypocrite." You know, if you just think you know everything, and you can't learn from other people, and then you're trying to coach others, well, then that's completely in opposition. It just makes so much sense. But you said something also really cool just now about that winning itself is a mindset. Like, how do you think that's different from, mindset that typical player goes out with, and how can we change to get more into that winning mindset?
Okay, so here's what I've noticed, and I get to go around the country, which is like one of my things where I don't take that lightly. I'll be in Rochester this weekend. I'll be in Binghamton this weekend. I was in Atlanta last weekend. In 2 weeks, I'll be in the Carolinas, and I'll be working with some of the most elite programs, across the Eastern Seaboard. And I think I always look at the differences. I look at the demographics of the players that I'm working with, right? And then I look at the differences in the mentality of the players. And you know what comes along with that? The parenting comes along with that. And a lot of times we don't talk about that enough. But if I took the top 10 players I've ever coached in my entire career and put those 10 kids' parents in a room, those parents are going to have so much in common just by the principles that they lay out for their children as children, which has such a unique effect on how they go about their day-to-day, how they go about the game, how they think, what they think about themselves in terms of self-image. There's going to be so much that we're looking at swings, we're looking at mechanics, that's not even it. It's heart, it's something deeper on the inside that I have the ability with my experience to actually identify and reinforce. So I'm really partnering with families in the overall development of the whole human being of a player. Not just, I'm going to go work on my swing with Rob Cruz. If you think it's just about swings, I can get anybody swing to look good, but that doesn't make you a hitter.
That's a really important point. And I think every single parent out there just perked up right now was like, and I think like everybody's dying to know the same question that I'm dying to know right now is that what do you think those parents would have in common specifically? Like what sort of principles do they use to govern the characteristics of their children, or what sort of rules do they lay out, or what sort of values are they instilling?
Number one would be work ethic.
Love that.
And when a parent says to me, well, I don't want to push her, it's up to her, red flag.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if you're not going to push her, I'm telling you right now, she's going to be an underachiever. I'm telling you. Because you push her in the classroom, you push her in academics, that's why she's a great student, but yet you don't push her in softball, that's why she's not reaching her full potential. She's underachieving. And I think that's like my number one thing is, I was telling my kids the other day, I was just yelling at some of my kids, and I said to them, I said, I can literally, if I have 100 kids I'm working with right now, I can literally make you a list right now and tell you who's going to play in college and who's not going to play in college, who's going to go to college and quit, who's going to go to college and probably underachieve. Because you guys, like, the way you go about your day-to-day speaks volumes. And based on my experience, I already know what it looks like. I know what failure looks like. I know what a quitter looks like. I know what it looks like. I can identify it because it's so obvious just in how you go about your day-to-day. I always have an excuse on why I can't come to a lesson. I don't manage my time effectively. I'm always on, and then I got kids who will drive 3 hours for a 1 hour lesson and drive 3 hours home. And then I got kids, if I change the location, they won't drive 40 minutes, it's too far. Well, you're not going to play in college.
No.
You don't have the mentality. And the kids can't drive themselves.
No.
So who's reinforcing the mentality?
That's right. That's why some kids will travel, to different states to pay for a better college, and then some kids will.
And if it's just not a priority, then it's not a priority. Yeah. And that speaks fine. But yet you want college coaches to like fly somewhere, rent a hotel, rent a car to watch you play. You're not even serious about the game. You're not even serious enough about the game to invest in your own abilities. But you expect another college coach to invest in your ability.
And that is an outstanding point, ladies and gentlemen, because I think that that's one of the things that I'm seeing more and more now with earlier and earlier recruiting, which I think is something that we should address, is, especially those kids who kind of get recruited early and then they sort of slack off, or kids who really end up in a school that is not appropriate for them. We're seeing, a lot more transferring, I think. We're seeing a lot of kids quit. And I think if there's enough research and you have guidance by the right people, then that sort of stuff should never happen, in my opinion.
Here's the reality check, though, Julie. I'm glad you said that. here's the reality check. The reality check is this. Most players have never been on a team where there's 24 players.
Very good point, yep.
They've only been on teams where there's 13 players, 14 players, 15 maybe, tops. And in fact, to be honest, most of them wouldn't want to be, if the team had more than 14, 15, they probably wouldn't want to be on that team.
Yes.
You understand? So now here's the deal. Then you get to college, there's 24 players on the team. Most people have never heard of a depth chart. So let me explain depth chart for everybody out there in the land of the internet. College coaches get in the room. They create a depth chart. First, they create a depth chart at every position. Pitcher. Here's my number one. Here's my number two. Here's my number three. And here are two more kids that probably pitched in high school. They're not going to pitch here, but if in an emergency, we probably have to get them ready. So maybe they throw a bullpen every 2 weeks. Maybe they throw some BP just to get the arm going, just in case, right? That's my depth chart for my pitchers. You could be on more than one depth chart for different positions. You could be the number one pitcher and the number 3 outfielder. So I could say shortstops. Player A, player B, player C. Player A may be stop. Player A may be in my number one on my depth chart for shortstop, but then she's my number two depth chart at third base. And then she might even be my number four catcher in the depth chart. And then I have my hitting depth chart. And usually I go by, it's going to go by the top 12. So if you're the 13th player through the 24th player, you're probably never going to ever smell the field.
Yep.
They'd rather get a transfer to come in. They'd rather get a transfer to come in. They'd rather like sell their soul, but you're not. But you're not going to probably smell the field. I'm serious. I'm telling you guys the truth right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and the truth should motivate you, though. It should motivate you. It shouldn't discourage you. It should motivate you to work harder. So you want to be in the top 12. You want to be able to get in there, and even if you come in at like the 16th player on the depth chart, you have an opportunity to work your butt off to get into that top 12 in the depth chart. Because at least you know you're going to get a pinch hit and you're going to get a start every now and then if you're in that top 12. Even if you're in like the 11, if you're 11th and 12th hitter, like there's a little bit of belief in you. So that's your hit. And so what do you think? What do you think when the coach makes a lineup? Which depth chart do you think they're going to go to? They're going to go to the top 9 hitters. Who are my best hitters? Now let's figure out where we're going to put them on the field based on where they can hurt me the least defensively.
Right.
You understand? And that's the art of winning. So if you're going to go to a school that's winning, that's probably what's going to happen. If you're going to go to a school that's probably not winning, then yeah, they're probably going to, you're probably going to get your quote unquote playing time. But at the bottom line, these are the livelihoods of men and women who are coaching sports. If they don't win, they lose their job. Players come and go. Players quit. Players transfer. Players get pregnant. Players get hurt. Players do dumb things and get kicked off the team. But I got to protect my job as a coach. So I have to win. And if I don't believe that you have the ability to help me win, that puts you a little bit deeper in the depth chart.
And I think the other thing that Michelle Smith brought up that I think is really important is the idea that like kind of our mentality sometimes as players is that we're sort of selfish in a way. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, this person did this, and that's why I didn't perform as well, and blah, blah, blah. And we're not as good at taking responsibility and saying, what can I bring to the team, as opposed to like, oh, this team is sabotaging me, or it's this coach, or it's that, or whatever. The idea of being like, what do I bring to this team? How can I help my team every time I'm out there? I just thought that was so important because there does have to be a shift at some point because coaches know when you're not a team player.
I'm going to say this. I got to say this. And most people are not going to say this, and this is not very popular, okay? But
that's why we love you, Rob, right?
No, this is not popular. Trust me. There's an accountability factor there, though. There's an accountability factor. So the parent who's calling the school because your kid got a B plus and not an A, when you didn't, like, first, I'll give you an example. When I played baseball in high school, if there was a game or two, I actually sat the bench on JV in high school twice.
What? See, that is alarming.
No, my mom yelled at me for being a bench warmer.
What?
She yelled at me for being a bench warmer. That's called accountability. Like,
yes.
Step your game up. You gonna let these guys beat you out? Are you kidding me? Like,
it wasn't like where she called the coach.
She held me accountable. She first of all, she would never call a coach.
No. I know.
My mom didn't even see a college. Listen, my mom did not even see a college application. I filled them out myself in high school. She didn't see one. I mean, I went to her for the money orders. I went for her for the money orders. But like, it's called like being like grow up. There's something to be said about allowing kids to grow up, and like you said it, accountability. You won't play the blame game if you're accountable in the process of your childhood development. Accountability. That was wrong. That's hers. Give it back to her. No, we cannot go. You didn't do your chores. No. Accountability. That goes back to what I told you about those parents. Those 10 parents that if I put them in a room together, I put those 10 parents of the best kids I ever coached in a room, they're going to be so similar in the values that they have. There's values. like kids who show up. I got a lot of kids right now who drive to their lessons now, right? And I told one of my kids, she said, "You think I'm ready to play college softball?" She says, "You think I'm ready, Ron?" I said, "Well, no. As a softball player, you're more than ready. But you're 10 minutes late to every lesson. Why can't you be 10 minutes early?"
And at college, that will get you destroyed, ladies.
And for that reason,
yep.
You're not ready. For that reason. You get what I'm saying? And it doesn't bother you that you're late. Like, you come in and you're not even hustling like, "I'm sorry I'm late." Like, it doesn't even bother you. You come in late like, it's no big deal. If I'm late, I'm stressed out. If I'm late for anything, if I'm late for the movies, I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm stressed. Oh my God, I'm going to be late." Like, it's just something about tardiness and lateness that speaks a lot to your character.
Yes.
And that goes back to what you said about wanting to contribute to the team versus wanting to contribute to yourself. It says a lot about your character and your selfishness. And the game, there are some instances where I want you to be selfish. Like, because if I'm selfish and I go 3 for 4, did I not help my team? Of course I did. My 3 for 4 contributed to the team.
Yeah, exactly.
So with my 3 for 4, my 3 stolen bases, my run score, my RBI, my 2 home runs and my double, I'm such a selfish hitter that, and I'm going to put those numbers up because I'm playing for the name on my back.
I understand. Yep.
You understand?
Yes.
I'm proud of my family name. I'm playing for the name on my back. I don't want it to be said that I was that kind of player. So yeah, I'm kind of selfish, but in my selfishness, I'm contributing to the team win, or the overall team win. And I think most people wouldn't want to admit that because it's not popular to say. Like the nice thing to say is,
right,
such a team player, she's such a great teammate. Dude, do you want a whole team roster of great teammates, or do you want like 2 or 3 BAs on your team? Because if you don't have at least 2 or 3 BAs, no, Julian, seriously. If you don't have 2 or 3 BAs on your team, you are going to lose. Listen to me closely. This is for everybody out there. If you don't have at least 2 girls who are like just straight BAs, you are going to lose because you have no heart on your team. You got a whole bunch of nice girls. And you know what I say about nice girls? They bat 8. Nice girls bat 8. I know people aren't going to say that, but if you talk to some of these pitchers, off the camera, off the record, they're going to tell you, and their teammates are going to tell you, she's tough. She's tough. She's tough to be around. She's tough to deal with. But when she gets in that circle, she's also tough to hit. And I think it's that character flaw that makes great athletes great. Because they're very controversial, even in the dugout, even in the locker room. And you know what I'm talking about.
I do, yes. I do.
But people don't want to talk about that. Oh, you have to be a good teammate. And can you give me a break? Just give me a break. Because if we want to keep it real, that's not the truth.
Well, that's what you're here, Rob, because we need to keep it real sometimes, you know.
You have to keep it real. Because if you ask any of the top players in the world, in the country, they're going to tell you, oh my God, I was at a Broadway play, backstage, right? And these dancers were like so on point, so unified. So you're like, wow. And you would think they must really love each other. And then when I was talking to a friend of mine who was like a part of it, she took us backstage. She was like, "Oh my God, the drama. This girl, they just had a fight. Da da da. She pulled her wig off. And I'm not saying it has to be that crazy, but yet they go out and they freaking win.
I think that's
the show was amazing, but yet there's conflict. There's a little bit of strife. There's a personality over here. There's a personality over there. There's that. And then somehow you figure out how to bring it all together, which is what makes coaching awesome. Because you have to bring personalities together. People are people. People are human. They have issues. But when you get on the field, it's like, let's play the game that we love. Let's play the game that we love. And that's what's great about sports, especially team sports.
Yes, I think that's the challenge that most coaches have is that, okay, how do I motivate this player versus that player? Because I think we're being naive if we're saying that everybody responds to the same type of motivation or everybody works well within the same sets of everything, and that's not true. I think that's why I really like the psych scale, because some people work better when they're kind of like gelling with their teammates, and some people work better when they're angry, when they're pissed off, and some people work better when they're kind of more relaxed and kind of in their own space. But I mean, you have 12 different personalities doing that on the field. You have to figure out how each one gets to that perfect point.
That's great. And I'm gonna tell you this: when I coached in the NPF, right? I had the opportunity to coach in the NPF, which is the National Pro Fast Pitch League, and with the USSSA Pride. And it was 2010. It was the year that we integrated the league with the Team USA. It was like the first year that the league actually integrated, right? And I had an opportunity to just, as a coach, you're always a student, because we're always learning from our players so that we can know how we can serve them better.
That's so true. Oh my God. Amen to that. You have to always be like sort of plastic in that way. You have to have that plasticity. You have to be malleable. Like, and I feel the same way. The players have to be the same way. You know what I mean? You can't just say like
it's an exchange. It's an exchange.
Yeah,
it's definitely an exchange. But I think it's never going to be. You can never. It's almost like a relationship. It's never going to be 50-50.
No.
There may be times when it's 70-30 on one way, and then it may be times when it's 70-30 the other way.
Yes.
But when you average it all out, it probably may get closer to 50-50. But sometimes we're looking for justice, and it's not fair. But it's not always fair. Sometimes it's just the way it is. And as a coach, you have to be, like you said, you have to have that plasticity to be able to adapt.
Yes.
So if I'm in a situation with an athlete who is highly emotional, then as a coach, I have to be highly sensitive. If I'm in a situation with a player who's not as emotional, a little bit more mentally tough, as a coach, I can challenge her even more. And I have to understand that there's not just one way to get a player to the next level. There's multiple ways to get players to the next level. And it's not just about, like, for example, people used to say, oh, well, that's the Rob Cruz swing. And I used to laugh because, you're not really what you are. You're really what people say you are, because it's what they perceive. You know what I mean? But in my heart of hearts, I really know that, and I'm going to say this right now, I really could care less about swing. Swings are like, if your swing was perfect, if that's even possible, that's like 30% of hitting. Now we're talking about that at the highest level, Jules. We're talking about the highest level. But if your swing is, you have to perfect your swing. So when I coached in the NPF, I had a lot of knowledge of what a lot of the players had been doing in college. So I knew going in that I just wanted to get them to be as close as they could be to what they were doing in college, but be able to do it with more efficiency because of the level of pitching. It's the best pitching in the world in one league. So, but what I noticed when I watched the work ethic of those girls, like Tanya Callahan from Tennessee and all these different players, Andrea Duran from UCLA, like they would go to the gym on game day and do a leg workout. No, I'm serious.
Oh, you gotta love that, man.
I'm like, where you guys coming from? Oh, we were at Gold's Gym. I'm like, isn't it game day today? Yeah. So yeah, okay, but that's their process. They know what they have to do. They know their process. They're locked in. They're focused consistently. So then it would be like you watch Monica Abbott pregame, right? This girl is doing a whole workout pregame. So you're saying to yourself, "Oh, good gosh, she's not pitching today," because she's doing this whole workout. There's no way she's pitching. She's doing like a.
And that's what she does before she gets in there.
I'm not even. Listen, she's running. I'm like, there's no way she's pitching. And I'm like, who's gonna pitch? Why are they not pitching her? She's doing this workout. She's sweating. I'm like, she's gonna have to change. So she goes in and she takes a shower, changes, comes back out. She's in the circle. I'm like, what? I'm like, what?
Oh my God!
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's the epitome of a champion.
That's I love
But
that. I mean, I think so many people.
here's the flip side of it, though, Jules. The flip
Right.
side of it is this. Then you have Danielle Laurie, who's like has this Zen pregame.
Yes.
So she's in center field with her headphones on, sitting with her legs crossed. She doesn't. Nobody's near her, and she just has this whole Zen approach. But the key, and this is the key, the people at that level, which what makes them great, is not just their talent, but they are incredibly self-aware.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Love that. Love that.
So they know what they have to do to get ready, and it doesn't mean you have to agree with it.
Yes. Well, trying to force everyone into a box is not going to work for anyone.
And
You know.
smart coaches allow their players to do what they need to do to be the best version of themselves possible.
Yes.
So they try to create an atmosphere that
That facilitates
that makes it comfortable
right.
for you to be yourself. Whereas the coaches who lose are running absolute dictatorships,
Yes.
and it has to be done this way. And you have kids who struggle with making, like it's easier to ask a player, what's harder, changing a player as a coach? I'm talking about the college level, changing you, or asking you what you need to do so I can teach you or help you do that. As a matter of fact, some of the best coaches, like the Tim Waltons of the world and the UCLA's of the world, and the LSU's of the world, they get on the phone with the people who develop those kids and ask them, what do I need to do to get her to be her best? Because you've coached her for 10 years, I'm going to have her only for 4, and I'm not even going to get to spend that much time with her one-on-one.
I love
So
that.
I'm going to. Most coaches are going to be like, well, no, we don't do it like that here. Are you kidding me? This girl has pitched like that her whole life.
And why are you going to change?
It's going to take you 3 years to change it.
You're going to get one year.
If you can change it, it's going to take you 3 years. It's easier to get on the phone and say, hey, let me know what. Tell me about her.
Exactly.
Now she's an All-American as a freshman instead of sitting on the bench for 3 years, and now you're going to blame her. Well, she just didn't get it done. No, you failed as a coach. The most important thing for me, and this is my biggest fear as a coach, when I'm working with a great player, I don't want to mess them up. So
I don't think it would ever happen, Rob. I don't think it would ever happen.
But that's my biggest fear. So that's the least thing I want to do is I want to make the as least changes as possible. I want to try to look at you as a hitter and say, this is how you move. This is how you need to move. Let's see if we can move that way. But how can we make the way you're moving more efficient and effective? Because I don't want to be the one to mess you up.
No, that would never happen.
I know, but that's my fear. And then my second biggest fear is that my kids go to college and sit the bench. And I tell my kids all the time, a lot of you guys are going to play in college with or without me. You don't need me to play in college. You're a good enough athlete. You're going to play in college. What I want to be able to do, I want to help you to get off the bench in college.
Yeah.
And be the best player that you can be at college level. And a lot of that is the mental game. So a lot of that is just the mindset.
And
that's what I spend time on. That's what I pride myself in.
Well, that is so consistent. I just want you to realize that we have at this point talked with 2 Olympic gold medalists, Lauren Hagar and Amanda Scarborough. So all these people that have played at like a level that I think for most people is almost inconceivable. It's hard. It's hard to even imagine. And everyone has said the same exact thing. Like, most people think that Lauren Hagar, I think, is just like, it's just magic. She's got like statistics like Babe Ruth. She's like the only player to do it. And she said what really defined all that for her, she said she wasn't even in like the starting rotation her senior year. And that Tim Walton went up to her and was like, look, I don't think you're a starter for me this year. And that's what did it. She said it was like a switch. And that's just how he's such a great coach, that he knew how to approach her and knew how to say, like, look, you're not even going to pitch for me this year. And that brought her out to, boom, now they win the College World Series with her at the helm. I just think that's so, it's incredible how you can have 3 kids throwing 65, and one of those kids is going to take it to a whole nother level, and 2 of those kids are not going to do anything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not all about that. It's so much more now. As kids get better and better, it's so much about that mental state and how you push yourself to achieve your best.
And I truly believe that your environment, your circumstances, and the only thing, pay attention, people. The only thing that fosters mental growth is adversity. Nothing else. You have to suffer. You have to be challenged. You have to have bad days. You grow from that. Some people don't. Some people quit and fold up and go sit in the corner and die. But some people respond like a champion to adversity. And the people who have overcome the most adversities are the best players mentally. Just ask them. You know what? Just go read an autobiography of somebody, of anybody. Go to the bookstore, pick out an autobiography of somebody great in whatever field, and read their story and look at all the stuff they went through. Don't just look at the glory. Look at the stuff they had to go through, and you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe they went through that. I don't even know if I can go through that.
Oh my God. Well, yes.
You'd be surprised what you can go through.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but adding to your point, they've actually done research and finding that Olympic athletes, they've failed just as many times, if not more, than athletes who did not play at the Olympic level. The difference is that they see their failure as a challenge. They see that as a way to drive them better, and you see that in talking with Danielle Henderson and talking with Michelle Smith. That's not something that shoots them down. They say, well, okay, I failed at this. Well, that just drives me to push harder, to do more, to do better. And that is the winning mentality. That, I think, is the essence of it, really. Crazy.
That's good. This is good talk. And I think we always have these. We actually have these talks, people.
All the time.
All the time. But it's just great that sometimes you're like, wow, that's such a good talk. I wish people would have been there.
So this time people will be there.
So now people are actually here. Now people can see what goes on. This is great.
Well, I think this is a good opportunity, because we're winding down on our time here, but a good opportunity to talk about what you would like to do with transcending sports a little bit.
All right, so we're living in a social media age. We're living in an age where it's not even that phones are mobile, but people are mobile. And because our phones are with us, that's what makes the phone mobile. Phones aren't mobile by themselves.
Yeah.
So, having said that, having the ability to tap in to anything you would like to tap into at any given time is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. We have all the resources at our disposal to be able to do and learn about anything we want to learn. And then when we're learning, we have our own unique interpretation of what we learn. So if I read something or if I watch something, it's going to inspire me differently than it may inspire someone else. And I think the inspiration is making a shift. How people are inspired is making a shift. So media is like the most powerful form of influence. Obviously, there's negative media and there's also positive media. But like media itself is such a great tool and resource for reaching people and motivating people and sharing your information. And I always just talk to you about, like, I remember when you said I'm not going to write any more books. And I got on you because I'm like, that's being selfish because you have so much to give and so much to share. Remember that conversation we had?
Yes. Rob is the reason why I've written 2 books, folks.
Because I'm like, are you kidding me? That's like the ultimate, like, smack in the face to the universe. No, seriously. It's like, I have these gifts. I have all this great charisma and passion and information. And I'm not going to use the medium that everyone is using to share it. That's just ridiculous. Like if Buddha had social media, he'd be on Twitter. Like seriously.
Yes, and Rob says that because he knows I love anything Buddha related. But yeah,
You understand? Like if Jesus was walking the earth now in Nazareth, he'd have like a Facebook page, and he would do all that stuff. All things that he was doing, he would do it on Facebook Live. Like would he not? Would he not?
Yes, I mean, yeah, there are a ton of resources out.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So like, Paul had to write letters to the Church of Corinth and whatnot, right? Now, back then he wouldn't have to write letters. He would just get on Twitter.
Yes.
You get it? You get it? So for me, with transcending sports, is I wanted to be able to create a platform, but I wanted to literally transcend sports. Like I didn't want to talk about sports. I wanted to talk about the things in sports that affect the people of sports. Because because this player plays a sport, she's still a person. He's still a person who has likes, dislikes, fears, wants, desires, hopes, dreams, objectives, perspectives on different issues, socially, politically, sexually, just life, right? But we never get to talk about it. And I've met some of the most intelligent people in sports throughout my career, throughout my life, right? And some of their perspectives are pretty good, but sometimes they get boxed in as, well, they're just an athlete. They're not allowed to have a perspective on anything but sports. But sometimes because you're an athlete, your perspective is pretty good and it's pretty cool and it can help or inspire someone else. And I think that's what I wanted transcending sports to be. I wanted to talk about the things that most people don't talk about, like not curveballs and drop balls and how to hit change ups and how to stay back, keep your weight back on your backside, but like the layers and the layers of the game.
That's right. That's it. Because we are athletes. That's part of our identity, but we are so much more than athletes. And I think that's something that no one's really addressing on a bigger scale at this point.
And I think there are people who would want to know things and who would want to go a little bit deeper.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I know, and that's really what was the motivation. Because me, I'm always trying to do something different. Like it's hard for me to like do what everybody does. It's just not my personality.
No, not at all.
Like but yeah. So so with Transcending Sports, it's going to be a podcast platform. We will have different featured hosts hosting their own content, but Transcending Sports will be the platform if you want to get a unique brand of interpretation of life through sports people and sports entrepreneurs and sports businesses and sports models and just so many people. Like I met people from like the United States Tennis Association that were just phenomenal people that have done phenomenal things. You would never know. Like you just would never know. You're like, are you kidding? That's amazing. Because you're an interesting person. And when I told this person that, she was like, I'm nobody. I'm not. I can get you some interesting people. No, I don't want famous people. I want regular people because people can identify with you. Yeah. People can identify with you can't identify with people that are almost untouchable. You can identify with regular people who are just like you, who probably went to the same college as you or high school as you, who just, they're normal. I mean, they're just normal. So that was my objective, and that's still my objective, and I'm looking forward to, getting that done.
So this is something, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to want to be on the lookout for, is transcending sports, and some other things that Rob is super involved with that, of course, like, I think I know a lot of my girls know about it, but of course, there's A game and using this sort of stuff to get you on the right track to college, even if you just do an initial consultation. I mean, Rob literally created A game from the ground up, from not only his experiences with his athletes, but you've got to realize this is someone who I literally went to the NFTA convention with and couldn't keep up with how many people he was introducing me to. I'm like, I need like an old-fashioned Rolodex. Like, seriously. That's how close he is with these coaches. So you have to realize the kind of knowledge and the kind of passion that's been put into A game and that's been put into Complete Game. And, follow Rob on social media, follow Complete Game on social media. It is the type of stuff that is not just physical, it's going to change your perspective mentally, it's going to challenge you, it's going to make you dig deep. So, anything else you want to add before we finish up today?
I want to, because you mentioned day game, I want to mention, I want to talk, I want to give one bit of advice um, to everybody who is in pursuit of the collegiate softball experience. The worst thing you can do, the most important thing you can do, is really find someone who's willing to be honest with you about your abilities, so that you don't spend too much time chasing something that's not going to happen.
Yes.
And then the realistic goals that you should have had, by the time you go back for those, they're not there either.
That is so important. Yeah.
And I'm finding that so many players, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to shoot for the stars, but if you're not that caliber of an athlete, you are wasting your time, you're wasting your parents' resources, and you're wasting the time of those coaches even. And you're missing out on the opportunities that are more suitable for your athletic ability. So basically is your talent level needs to match the schools that you want to go to. Your academic ability needs to match the schools that you want to go to. And you need to make sure that if your work ethic doesn't match the school you want to go to, you need to find a school that you either need to change your work ethic to match that school's demands, or change the school to match your current work ethic. Hopefully everybody understands what I'm talking about. So, and that's kind of like to me, like the biggest issue that's out there right now.
Because everybody wants to play at the best level, but no one wants to put in that type of commitment.
But you gotta play for the best level that's for you. And let me tell you right now, I've been a volunteer assistant coach at Ramapo College for this will be my third full season doing it. Division III softball is pretty freaking awesome.
It's completely changed over the last 5 years.
I'm gonna tell you right now, well, at least in the conference that we're in. I mean, I can't speak. I haven't been it, but I mean, it's pretty amazing. And I think most people don't have that perspective. They think, oh, if I want to go D1, I don't want to play. Like, if you love the game, you don't love it any less because you're playing at a level that's conceived to be lower. You're playing at the level that's appropriate for you.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
You know, so whether you're a Team USA athlete or whether you're a 10U girl who plays batty ball, rec ball, right? That 10-year-old girl doesn't love the game any less than a player who loves on Team USA. She doesn't love the game any less. So I think that's something that we have to really, get players to understand. You love the game, you're going to play it.
Right. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and, pay $30,000 to sit at a Division I school, where, you know what I mean, where you could really be having an awesome experience at a Division III school, especially if you want to go. I have kids who want to go to school to be doctors. You know what I mean? And you have to realize that a Division I school, that schedule is going to make it so your classes that you have to take because you want to become a doctor that's pretty unrealistic. You know what I mean? That's sometimes how that goes. So It's important to do your research, do your homework, and get people who support you, like Rob, like myself, like Lisa Anson, people who are going to, help guide you in the right direction for that sort of stuff. So, and that's that.
All right. By the way, we officially expanded to Atlanta for A Game, and we're going to be running A Game out of Today's Faces Academy in Beaufort, Georgia. The people down there are amazing. When I say amazing, I'm just impressed. Like I'm all about when it comes to that. Like your character has to be like impeccable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm super pumped, and I'm super excited for the people down in the southern tier of the country. We're going to be able to have a terrific resource just in terms of like integrity and honesty and just respect. They're respected people all throughout the country.
And for those of you who are in A-Game Masters, that means that you also now have more resources at your disposal.
That's right. That's right.
That is a really big deal.
That's a big deal. The network is slowly growing as I identify the people who I feel like represent what the brand is all about.
So, Rob, thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing, and your insights, as usual, are just incredible, and we love, love, love talking to you. Guys, make sure you share this interview. You know, send it to your teammates, send it to your friends. This one is not just pitching specific, and there's a lot to be learned from someone who has worked at such a tremendous level. So thank you so much, Rob. We will talk again soon. And
All right.
follow him on social media, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Thanks for having me, Jules. I'll see you soon.
See you soon.